Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the female orgasm, most people think of it as a brief spark, a quick rush of pleasure that fades in just a heartbeat. But science tells us a much more fascinating truth that changes the way we view female sexuality forever. The average female orgasm is not a fleeting moment, but rather an experience that can last anywhere between 13 to 51 seconds, a span of time that carries intense waves of sensation rolling through the body. 13 seconds may sound short when measured by a clock, but in the realm of erotic intensity, it can feel like eternity stretching and expanding with every contraction. 51 seconds, on the other hand, is an ocean of pleasure, a long-lasting state where the body loses track of reality and surrenders fully to sensation. This length, compared to the male orgasm which typically lasts much shorter, shows the incredible power and complexity of the female sexual response. When we measure orgasm only in seconds, we underestimate how those seconds are experienced, because each second of a female orgasm is amplified with multiple layers of intensity, a rhythm of contractions, a rush of blood flow, a surge of endorphins, and a deep emotional release. The fact that women can sustain this pleasure longer than men should not just be a biological observation, but a celebration of the incredible design of the female body. The average length is not fixed, it is a spectrum, and within that spectrum, every woman experiences her orgasm differently depending on her arousal, her state of mind, and the connection she feels at that moment. The female orgasm is not just a single burst but a series of pulsations, each wave building upon the last, creating a cascade of pleasure that feels like it stretches beyond time. When a woman is fully aroused, her orgasm can peak at maximum intensity, extending closer to the higher end of that range, which feels like her body is vibrating with electric energy. This ability to sustain pleasure longer than expected is one of the reasons why female sexuality has been both mysterious and misunderstood for centuries. 13 to 51 seconds may not sound extraordinary on paper, but within those seconds, the body is flooded with oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins, creating a chemical cocktail that elevates mood, erases stress, and produces a deep sense of intimacy. These seconds are not passive, they are active moments where the body tightens, the muscles pulse, and the mind enters a trance-like state of surrender. Even the shortest orgasm of 13 seconds can carry more power and satisfaction than some people experience in hours of physical activity. The female body was built with the capacity to extend pleasure beyond the basic reproductive function, giving orgasm its rightful place as a gift of pleasure, connection, and wellness. Studies have shown that while the average duration may be measured in seconds, many women report that their perception of time during orgasm slows down, creating the illusion that the climax lasts much longer. This perception makes the orgasm feel expansive, as though the world has frozen and the only thing that exists is the intensity of that moment. Each contraction of the pelvic muscles during orgasm is like a drumbeat of ecstasy, and there are usually around 5 to 15 contractions during a typical female orgasm, which explains why it stretches far beyond what people expect. These contractions are not random, they are the physical expression of an ancient biological rhythm that has been perfected through evolution to maximize pleasure. The length of the female orgasm is not simply about numbers, it is about how deeply those seconds penetrate the emotional and psychological state of the woman. In those few seconds, she can feel completely alive, completely free, and completely connected either to herself or her partner. Even science struggles to capture the full beauty of these seconds, because orgasm is not just a physical event, but also an emotional and mental state, and those aspects extend the experience beyond measurable time. When partners understand that the female orgasm lasts longer than they think, it changes the way they approach intimacy, shifting focus from speed to depth, from rushing to savoring. The awareness that a female orgasm can last nearly a full minute encourages lovers to slow down, to hold space for those seconds, and to witness the powerful expression of female pleasure. In fact, one of the most surprising things about orgasm duration is that women who feel more comfortable, more loved, and more safe often report longer orgasms, which shows us that duration is not only biological but deeply emotional. The female orgasm is a mirror of how she feels in her body and in her relationship at that moment, which is why its length is so variable and yet so meaningful. Even at the lower end of the range, 13 seconds of orgasmic release is longer than many other moments of peak physical pleasure humans experience in daily life. Think about it, most joys are fleeting, but the female orgasm lingers, stretches, and leaves an afterglow that can last for hours. The after effects of these seconds ripple through the body, lowering blood pressure, relaxing muscles, and creating a sense of peace that is disproportionate to the short duration of the climax itself. This is why understanding how long the female orgasm lasts is not just about curiosity, but about honoring the profound experience women are capable of having. Many women themselves are shocked when they learn that their orgasms are lasting longer than they assumed, because in the heat of passion, time loses meaning, and the intensity makes every second feel eternal. This timeless quality is part of what makes the female orgasm such a powerful force. It transcends the clock, it bends perception, it expands awareness, and it unites body, mind, and spirit in one explosive moment. The numbers 13 to 51 seconds are not cold statistics, they are evidence of the strength and resilience of female sexuality, a reminder that women are capable of holding and sustaining immense pleasure in ways that defy expectation. Each orgasm a woman experiences has the potential to affirm her body, empower her confidence, and deepen her connection to herself. The average length is not a limitation but an invitation to explore, to stretch those seconds into longer experiences through arousal, connection, and trust. These seconds of climax are moments of surrender, moments of power, and moments of liberation, and they stand as proof that female pleasure is not just an accessory to sex, but its crown jewel. The duration of a female orgasm is not written in stone, it is shaped by a beautiful combination of physical, emotional, and psychological forces that come together in a unique way each time. The length of climax depends first on how aroused a woman becomes, because arousal is the fuel that ignites and sustains orgasm, and without deep arousal the body cannot reach its full potential. When a woman is truly aroused, her body builds more blood flow to the genital area, her nerve endings fire with greater intensity, and the contractions that define orgasm last longer and with more power. Mental focus plays an equally important role, because the mind can either allow pleasure to expand or shut it down before it even peaks, which means that distraction, insecurity, or overthinking can cut an orgasm short. A fully present mind, one that is immersed in the sensations of the body, extends the orgasm and amplifies its duration, making seconds feel like waves rolling endlessly. Stress is one of the greatest enemies of long orgasms, because cortisol and anxiety block the body's ability to relax and let go, while relaxation, safety, and trust are the very conditions that allow orgasm to stretch and linger. Hormonal balance also plays its part because levels of estrogen, oxytocin, and dopamine influence sensitivity, intensity, and duration, and a body in hormonal harmony is more likely to sustain pleasure. This is why women may notice changes in their orgasms throughout their cycle, with certain times producing longer, stronger, or more easily achieved orgasms. Comfort with a partner is another powerful factor, because when a woman feels emotionally secure, understood, and valued, she is able to surrender fully, and this surrender creates space for orgasms that last longer. Fear, tension, or a lack of connection can shorten the experience, while deep intimacy extends it, proving that orgasm is not just about physical stimulation but also about emotional alignment. The environment also matters, because privacy, mood, and atmosphere can influence how long the body holds on to pleasure, with soft lighting, soothing surroundings, and a sense of safety stretching orgasm into its full potential. Physical health and fitness affect duration too, because a strong pelvic floor supports more powerful and prolonged contractions, and good circulation ensures the body responds fully to stimulation. The ability to breathe deeply during sex is often overlooked, yet breath directly fuels orgasm because shallow breathing can cut intensity short while slow. Rhythmic breathing allows orgasm to expand and last longer. Foreplay is another crucial factor, because the longer and more thorough the buildup, the more the body charges itself with sexual energy, and this energy releases in a climax that lasts longer than quick or rushed encounters. Stimulation style matters as well, because steady, consistent rhythm helps a woman ride her orgasm for its full duration, while erratic or inconsistent touch may cause the climax to fade more quickly. Trust in one's own body also shapes the orgasm because women who feel confident, open, and unashamed of their pleasure are able to sustain their orgasm without guilt or resistance, and this inner permission lengthens the experience. On the other hand, shame, embarrassment, or performance anxiety can cut orgasms short, showing us that duration is not just physical but deeply psychological. Emotional connection during intimacy acts like an amplifier, because when a woman feels loved and cherished in the moment, the emotional high fuses with the physical high, creating orgasms that seem to go on forever. Self exploration can also impact duration because women who know their bodies, who understand their arousal patterns, and who practice self pleasure often experience longer orgasms due to familiarity with what their body needs. Age plays a role as well, because with maturity comes not only more confidence, but often greater awareness of sexual rhythm, which can extend the orgasm despite natural changes in hormone levels. Sleep quality, diet, and stress management all feed into sexual health, and when a woman is well rested, nourished, and balanced, her orgasms are often longer and more satisfying. Alcohol, medication, or substances can sometimes shorten orgasm or reduce sensitivity, while a clean, healthy lifestyle tends to support the body's natural ability to stretch pleasure. Another factor is communication, because when a partner listens, responds, and adjusts to what feels good, the orgasm lasts longer than when pleasure is rushed or ignored. Women who feel free to express their desires without fear of judgment often find that their orgasms deepen and extend, because communication creates trust, and trust creates relaxation. The pace of intimacy has enormous influence, because slow, mindful lovemaking gives orgasm time to unfold fully, while rushing can cause climax to be short and less fulfilling. Even posture and positioning affect how nerves are stimulated and how contractions flow, which means some sexual positions may naturally create longer orgasms. The element of anticipation also matters, because when desire is built over time, whether through teasing, flirting, or prolonged foreplay, the orgasm that follows is usually stronger and longer lasting. Mindfulness and body awareness enhance duration because the more connected a woman is to her sensations, the more deeply she can ride each wave of climax. Women who practice pelvic floor exercises like Kegels often notice that their orgasms last longer and feel more intense, because their muscles have the strength to sustain contractions for an extended period. Fantasies and mental arousal can also extend orgasm because the brain is the largest sex organ, and when it is fully engaged, orgasm reaches levels of intensity and length that pure physical touch cannot always create alone. Every orgasm is a meeting point between biology and psychology, and every factor, from relaxation to focus to emotional security, adds seconds, intensity, and depth to that meeting point. The female orgasm is not one single experience, it is a spectrum of sensations that can take different forms depending on the type of stimulation, the state of arousal, and the connection between mind and body. The most commonly known is the clitoral orgasm, a sharp, intense release created by stimulating the clitoris, which is packed with over 8,000 nerve endings dedicated purely to pleasure, more than any other part of the human body, and this intensity explains why clitoral orgasms are often quick, fiery, and deeply satisfying. Yet the clitoris is not just the small visible tip, it extends internally, with roots that surround the vaginal walls, which means clitoral pleasure is not limited to external touch, but radiates through the entire pelvic region, allowing clitoral orgasms to be more versatile and powerful than most people imagine. Vaginal orgasms, on the other hand, feel completely different because they are triggered by deeper internal stimulation, often associated with the G-spot and anterior vaginal wall, creating sensations that spread gradually and last longer, often described as waves that build and roll through the body rather than a sharp burst. Vaginal orgasms can feel more internal, less focused on a single point, and more like a whole body experience that can extend for many seconds, leaving women with a glowing, almost meditative after effect. Blended orgasms, which combine clitoral and vaginal stimulation, are considered by many women to be the most overwhelming because they merge the sharpness of clitoral pleasure with the depth of vaginal release, creating a climax so strong it can feel earth-shattering, and this type often lasts longer, carrying both intensity and expansion in one breathtaking experience. Some women experience cervical orgasms, which come from stimulation of the cervix, producing deep primal sensations that connect not just to the genitals but to the entire nervous system, often leading to orgasms that last longer than others and are felt in the spine, stomach, and even the head. Cervical orgasms are less common, but when they occur, they are described as transformative, emotional, and sometimes life-changing because they go beyond physical pleasure and tap into an almost spiritual depth of release. There are also nipple-induced orgasms, made possible because the same part of the brain that processes genital arousal also processes nipple stimulation, and for some women, the sensitivity of the nipples is powerful enough to trigger full-body climax, sometimes even longer in duration, due to the surprise and intensity of the sensation. Then there are multiple orgasms, where instead of one peak followed by a refractory period, the body continues responding to stimulation, allowing a woman to experience wave after wave of climax without fully dropping back to baseline, and these sequences can extend pleasure for minutes, creating an orgasmic state that feels endless. The ability to have multiple orgasms is unique to many women because, unlike men, they often do not require a long recovery before building to another climax, and this makes the female orgasm one of the most extraordinary capacities of human sexuality. Full-body orgasms are another type, often achieved through deep relaxation, tantra, or mindful breathing, where orgasmic energy spreads beyond the genitals and floods the entire body, creating trembling, shaking, and sensations that can last longer than typical orgasms, sometimes described as feeling like waves of energy moving from head to toe. These orgasms can blur the line between sexual and spiritual experience because they leave women not just satisfied but deeply transformed, connected, and alive. Some women also report anal orgasms, created through stimulation of the anus and surrounding nerves, which are deeply connected to the pelvic floor and the same nerve pathways as vaginal and clitoral arousal, making these orgasms powerful, unexpected, and often longer lasting. The type of orgasm experienced is not just about anatomy, but about mindset, arousal, and willingness to explore, because a woman who feels open to different kinds of stimulation may discover that her body is capable of far more than she realized. Each type of orgasm has its own rhythm, its own texture, its own way of stretching or condensing time, which means no two orgasms ever feel the same, and every encounter can reveal a new dimension of female pleasure. The clitoral orgasm may be short but explosive, the vaginal orgasm may be deep and rolling, the blended orgasm may be overwhelming and long, the cervical orgasm may be profound and emotional, and the multiple orgasm may be limitless in duration, together proving that female sexuality is not confined to a single definition. The nervous system plays a huge role in shaping each type of orgasm because different nerve pathways connect to different areas of the brain, which is why clitoral and vaginal orgasms can feel so different and why combining them can create something greater than the sum of both. Some orgasms are sharp like lightning, others are flowing like water, some are fiery like an inferno, and some are grounding like earth itself, each type carrying its own energy and each one capable of lasting longer or shorter depending on the body and the moment. The variability of orgasm types shows the adaptability of the female body, its ability to experience pleasure from multiple sources, and its potential to extend orgasmic states far beyond what most people assume. No other aspect of sexuality demonstrates the power and complexity of female arousal like the diversity of orgasm types, because each one challenges the idea that orgasm is a single peak and instead reveals it as a vast landscape with many summits. The fact that a woman can experience more than one type in a single session means her orgasm is not limited by time, not limited by one pathway, and not limited by expectation, but instead opens into a limitless horizon of pleasure. Every type of orgasm adds seconds, adds intensity, and adds dimension to her experience, and the more she understands these different pathways, the longer and more fulfilling her orgasms can become. No two female orgasms ever feel exactly the same because orgasm is not a mechanical event, but a living expression of the mind, body, and emotions working together in a unique way each time. The female orgasm changes with mood, with energy levels, with hormones, with the presence or absence of stress, and with the level of intimacy shared in that moment, making each climax a new discovery instead of a repeated pattern. Sometimes the orgasm is sharp and explosive, rushing through the body like lightning, while other times it is slow and rolling, spreading through the body like waves across the ocean, and both are equally powerful because they reflect different states of being. The nervous system is always in flux, and the way nerves fire during arousal can vary depending on how sensitive a woman feels that day, which explains why the same touch may lead to different levels of orgasmic intensity on different occasions. Blood flow is another factor because the more engorged the genitals become with arousal, the more intense and longer lasting the orgasm will be, and blood flow is influenced by health, energy, and even how much anticipation has been built. Emotional connection is one of the strongest reasons orgasms feel different each time because when a woman feels deeply connected to her partner, the orgasm is not just physical but emotional, making it resonate with a sense of love, trust, and surrender that extends the experience. On the other hand, when she is disconnected or distracted, the orgasm may still occur but feel weaker, shorter, or less satisfying, proving that intimacy and safety amplify climax in ways that science alone cannot measure. Mental state is crucial because when the mind is relaxed, open, and fully present in the body, orgasm feels expansive, while when the mind is racing, anxious, or insecure, the orgasm can feel muted or incomplete. Hormonal changes throughout the month also influence orgasm because during certain phases of the menstrual cycle, sensitivity is heightened, lubrication is increased, and climax feels stronger, while at other times, the orgasm may feel softer or more elusive. Experience also plays a role because the more familiar a woman becomes with her body and her desires, the more powerful her orgasms become, and this learning process ensures that each climax feels like an evolution rather than a repetition. Physical positioning can completely change the orgasm because some positions stimulate different nerve endings, leading to different sensations that alter both the intensity and duration of climax. Even breathing changes the orgasm because shallow breathing keeps the experience short, while deep, mindful breathing spreads the orgasm throughout the body and allows it to last longer. Fantasies and imagination can also shift the orgasmic experience because when the brain is deeply engaged in erotic thoughts, the orgasm feels more intense and often lingers longer, showing that the mind is the most powerful sex organ. Every orgasm is shaped by context, by what happened before, by how arousal was built, by how safe the environment feels, and by how deeply the woman is connected to her own body, and that is why they cannot ever feel identical. Sometimes the orgasm leaves her trembling and speechless, other times it leaves her soft and glowing, and both are valid expressions of the body's natural response to pleasure. This variability is part of what makes female sexuality so mysterious and so fascinating because the unpredictability of orgasm means there is always something new to experience, always something to learn. The same woman can experience orgasms that vary in strength and duration depending on whether she is self-pleasuring, making love, or engaging in deeper emotional intimacy, which shows that orgasm is not only about touch but also about context. The nervous system adapts with every experience, so orgasms can sometimes feel stronger after repeated stimulation, and at other times they can plateau, reminding us that the body is dynamic and never static. Sometimes the orgasm is localized, felt only in the genitals, while other times it expands to the thighs, stomach, chest, and even the head, creating a full body release that feels completely different from one focused only in one place. Emotional state before sex is critical because if she enters the experience feeling stressed, anxious, or self-conscious, the orgasm may come quickly but fade fast, while if she enters feeling relaxed, desired, and safe, the orgasm may last longer and feel more fulfilling. Energy levels also matter because when she is tired, the orgasm may feel shorter and weaker, while when she is rested and energized, the orgasm has more force, more contractions, and more duration. The partner's energy influences the orgasm too, because when a partner is present, attentive, and tuned in, the orgasm often feels deeper and longer, while when the partner is distracted or selfish, the orgasm may feel incomplete. Each orgasm is also influenced by buildup, because a rushed climax feels very different from one that has been teased and built slowly, and the longer the buildup, the more powerful the release. The element of surprise or novelty changes orgasm too, because when something new is introduced into intimacy, the body responds with heightened excitement, often leading to orgasms that feel stronger or last longer. Confidence plays a huge role because women who feel confident in their body and unapologetic about their pleasure often experience more intense and varied orgasms compared to those who feel ashamed or hesitant. Sometimes the orgasm feels raw and primal, leaving the body shaking, and other times it feels calm and soothing, leaving her in a state of blissful peace, and both are expressions of the same powerful response.
This constant variability is not a weakness but a strength because it means female sexuality is endlessly dynamic, endlessly adaptable, and endlessly capable of surprise. A woman can experience 10 orgasms over 10 days and never feel the same thing twice because her body, her mind, and her emotions are constantly shifting, constantly creating new possibilities for climax. Even age and life experience change the orgasm because with maturity comes greater awareness and sometimes deeper intensity, making orgasms feel different than they did at younger ages. Orgasms are mirrors of the moment, reflecting everything from arousal level to emotional intimacy to mental clarity, which is why they feel different not just across years, but from one night to the next. The female orgasm is not a single formula to be solved. It is a living phenomenon, an ever-changing expression of body and mind that refuses to be predictable, and that unpredictability is part of its beauty.
Longer orgasms are not only moments of pleasure, they are moments of profound healing for the body, the mind, and the spirit. Because every second of extended climax carries within it waves of transformation that go far beyond the bedroom. When a woman experiences a longer orgasm, her body releases a surge of endorphins that act like natural painkillers, dissolving stress, reducing tension, and replacing discomfort with deep, satisfying calm. The release of oxytocin during orgasm is even more powerful because this hormone of love and bonding not only strengthens intimacy with a partner, but also creates a lasting sense of safety and trust within the self. Longer orgasms flood the brain with dopamine, the chemical of reward, creating feelings of happiness and satisfaction that can lift mood for hours afterward and even protect against depression. Each contraction of the orgasm strengthens the pelvic floor muscles, which improves bladder control, enhances sexual function, and supports long-term reproductive health, making orgasm both a pleasure and a form of physical exercise. Women who experience longer orgasms often report better sleep because the body after climax is flooded with relaxation hormones that make falling into deep rest easier, and quality sleep is one of the foundations of health. Orgasms improve blood circulation, and the longer they last, the more blood is moved through the body, nourishing tissues, improving oxygen flow, and strengthening cardiovascular health in a natural and pleasurable way. The immune system also benefits because orgasm boosts antibodies that protect against illness, and longer orgasms mean stronger and longer lasting effects that fortify the body from within. Stress is one of the greatest killers of joy and health, but longer orgasms directly fight stress by lowering cortisol levels, melting anxiety away, and leaving the body and mind in a state of release that no pill can replicate. Emotional health is nourished too, because when a woman experiences longer orgasms, she feels more connected to her body, more confident in her sexuality, and more empowered to embrace her desires without shame. Longer orgasms can even reduce menstrual cramps and ease pain caused by tension in the reproductive system, because the contractions during climax release blood and relax muscles, offering natural relief. For women in menopause, orgasms support vaginal health by increasing blood flow, maintaining elasticity, and reducing discomfort, proving that pleasure is a lifelong tool for well-being. Longer orgasms create a feedback loop of intimacy because they increase bonding hormones with a partner, and that deeper bond leads to more trust, more safety, and ultimately even longer and more fulfilling orgasms. Sexual confidence grows with longer orgasms because they affirm that the body is capable of deep pleasure, and that confidence spills over into other parts of life, improving self-esteem, communication, and personal empowerment. The afterglow of a long orgasm is not just emotional, it is chemical, because the body remains bathed in feel-good hormones long after climax, making stressors seem smaller and challenges easier to handle. Longer orgasms encourage mindfulness, because in those extended seconds, a woman is completely present, completely immersed in her body, and that presence strengthens her ability to be mindful in everyday life. Longer orgasms can even influence creativity, because the surge of dopamine and flow of energy through the nervous system sparks inspiration, opening new pathways in the brain that support problem solving and imagination. The cardiovascular benefits of orgasm should not be underestimated, because the heart rate increases, blood vessels dilate, and circulation improves, which over time supports heart health, and the longer the orgasm, the stronger these benefits. Women who regularly experience longer orgasms often report fewer headaches because the release of tension in the nervous system and muscles acts as a natural cure that outshines medication. Sexual health is enhanced because the body learns to respond more fully, sensitivity increases, lubrication improves, and pleasure becomes easier to access, creating a positive cycle of desire and fulfillment. Longer orgasms are also linked to lower blood pressure because the relaxation that follows climax keeps the body in a healthier state of balance. The neurological benefits are profound because orgasm activates multiple parts of the brain at once, and the longer the orgasm, the longer the brain is engaged in this unique state of activity, which may even support long term cognitive health. Longer orgasms build resilience because they teach the body and mind to let go, to trust, and to surrender, and this ability to release tension is a powerful skill that strengthens overall emotional stability. The intimacy created by longer orgasms cannot be measured in seconds, because when two partners share that kind of extended pleasure, the connection between them deepens in ways that words cannot capture, creating a foundation of love and understanding that extends beyond sex. Longer orgasms make women more in touch with their bodies, and this awareness leads to better choices about health, boundaries, and self care. The glow on a woman's face after a long orgasm is not just pleasure, it is biology, because the release of endorphins and increased circulation create a radiant look that no cosmetic can reproduce. Longer orgasms enhance longevity because pleasure reduces stress, strengthens immunity, improves sleep, and supports heart health, all of which contribute to a longer, healthier life. Each extended climax is like a reset button for the nervous system, flushing out anxiety, loosening tension, and returning the body to balance, which explains why women often feel refreshed and renewed afterward. The empowerment that comes from longer orgasms cannot be overstated, because knowing that the body is capable of such profound pleasure gives women a sense of ownership over their sexuality that is deeply liberating. Longer orgasms make the body stronger, the mind calmer, and the spirit brighter, and the more often they are experienced, the more cumulative the benefits become, turning sex into not just an act of intimacy, but an act of health and healing.